Okay. Oh, did you have a chance to write the next? Oh, yeah, you did.
Yes. But yes.
That's cool. Okay, so we're gonna remember that in the body paragraphs, which is what we were doing, you needed to explain your reason and then provide evidence. And if you can, if you could, if you had time, you could reflect on the evidence as well.
Yeah, I didn't have time to reflect. I'm not sure because I was with the timer.
Okay. Did you
So
write it in 6 minutes?
I rather be honest and just the time I have and all I can.
That's good. Yeah, because that's the way it's gonna be. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the one you wrote in 6 minutes.
Yes. Like, yes. 6 minutes.
Okay.
And then I check and I only add in 2 minutes the other. Because I
Okay.
didn't know how much time, how many time.
How much time?
How much time, yes. Do I have to rewrite or to add?
Okay. So that's the thing. In the test, you will have that's you won't have like a separate timer for a paragraph or anything. So you will have 30 minutes in total. But you need to think that you're gonna be doing an outline. So maybe 3 minutes for the outline. And then you need to organize the rest, so 27 minutes in the 4 paragraphs that you gotta have. And only after you're done writing the whole thing, so only after you have finished the 4 paragraphs with the intro and the conclusion, can you go back and like change it and edit what you want. So you don't have like a specific time to rewrite or change or improve your essay, but that's
Mhm.
gonna depend on how much time you spend writing the essay. So because they don't like give you a separate timer for rewriting it or something. But it is very advisable to do that. So my advice is always at the beginning, just write down whatever comes to your mind. And then at the end, when you're done writing the whole thing, you go back and you make it better.
Okay, and then you correct.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
But let's read. Let's read what you have. Okay, so you have a transition on the other hand, perfect, comma. It has been demonstrated that implementing machines in company generates a cost reduction in some areas. As a matter of fact, according to some research about Coca-Cola Company, one machine implemented in the bottle area reduces at least 75% of costs generated for salary payments. Okay, that sounds really great. Okay, you made this up?
Yes, I made by myself. Yeah.
Okay, so honestly, it's perfect. I would say it's a great paragraph. Let's put it in 12. Okay, it's 4 lines, so it's the minimum for a paragraph. Okay, and you're using transitions, you have your reason, and you have your example. And that's enough. Those are the two basic things, by the way, your reason and your example. You could add one more sentence here, and you can do that at the end, one more sentence here to explain a bit more, and the closing or the like short conclusion here.
Mhm.
But that's perfect. That's more than enough for your paragraph. Grammar is great. I don't see any mistakes. You're using different tenses. It has been demonstrated. Um, you're conjugating your verbs in the right way. Um, okay, you also have some data according to the same company, Coca-Cola, but it's okay because even though you're using the same example about the same company, you're showing it into different perspectives. So it's okay. And okay, and you made up some numbers. So honestly, this deserves like a perfect score. So no comments on that one. Now let's see what you added.
No, don't read. I didn't know what to add, so I read the first thing it came to my head.
Over discuss reduction and noticeable in one-year production.
I want to. I mean, I want to add more to support this idea, but I didn't have time. Or I didn't know how to add, not contrast what I say at the beginning, because here I am like, however, discard reduction. So
okay, so I know when we did the writing part, like in general, like how you write an argumentative essay, we said you do need to be a little less biased, and you need to show also the downsides of what you're saying and object them later. But here for the TOEFL test, you don't ever have to include this, like counterclaims. Like, however, there are some limitations to what I'm saying.
yes.
So I wouldn't add that. I would maybe cut that part. Instead, I would try to add that short conclusion, right? To show how it connects to your idea. So maybe then here you can talk about how cost reduction is important. You could say, I don't know. So like, okay, I have an idea. One thing I always say, so maybe at the end you can always end with a conditional sentence. And you can say, okay, so this example shows that this is correct, that this is right. So what would it be, or how would it be like if this wasn't true? Maybe you could say, like, if Coca-Cola, did not, or maybe we could say Coca-Cola had not implemented such machine or such machinery. I don't know, maybe their workers would have perceived, maybe we would have perceived less earnings, right? So this last year, maybe. So it's a conditional sentence, and you're saying what could have happened in case something different would have happened in your example, right? Or it could be, in this case, it's the third conditional in the past, because it's something that you're talking in the past, right? So a machine implemented and it reduced money that was used for salary payments. So if they hadn't implemented this technology, the workers would have probably perceived less earnings this last year. So with that, you're showing the importance of doing what Coca-Cola did, right? Of implementing this machine. So you can do something like this. And the reason why I'm telling you is because conditionals are a great thing to use in terms of grammar, right? So if you use a third conditional, if you even make an inversion, so have Coca-Cola not implemented, it adds even more points for grammar.
Okay.
So something you could do, you can always go back and talk about the idea that robots will replace. You could say, I don't know. So I don't know, like maybe you could say, so more companies are seeing that they can use the money that they are saving in other areas. So you can imagine what's going to happen in the next decade. But yes, that's another idea. Right? But it's like a reflection on that evidence.
How can I add this to my paragraph?
I would add it here instead of however. I would add it there. And that could be
how can we connect, like, just had Coca-Cola not implemented?
Yeah, because we're talking about this machine, right?
Yes.
So one machine implemented in the bottle area reduces at least 75%. So if Coca-Cola hadn't done that, if they hadn't implemented
okay,
their workers would have earned less money than they did. So you're kind of telling me this benefits the workers.
Sorry?
You're kind of telling me, so implementing this machine benefited the workers, right? Because it was for salary payments. So you're telling me it was a good thing that they used the machine because it helped pay workers' salaries. So you could add it there. I don't know if you get what I mean.
Okay.
So yeah, you can do that with almost everything. Like if they say, Let's try to do another thing, because right now I like that you're using a lot of facts, you know, so these are all facts.
Well, invented facts.
Made up facts. I would say, like, all right, so now the thing is, this one here was a bit general. Now, in case you have something a bit more personal, let's see, another one. Maybe right here. Or this one here, let's say. So this is pretty personal. It says, do you prefer to go to bed earlier at night around 9 p.m. or to stay up late until 12 a.m.? Right? So you could say,
I know. Really hard.
I'm sorry?
No, that's hard to write an essay about this topic.
Would you say? I think it's even easier than the one you were writing. More
No,
personal?
because you're more involved in this. So for me, it's like I'm in the middle. I mean, I probably write about I mean, 9 p.m. or 12, but I will not know how to write or how to focus in one.
That's
So
why
I
you
don't
do
have trouble
problem.
with that.
Okay, but all right, so you're in the middle. So
Yeah.
well, what's your opinion? What do you think you should do?
I mean, if I had to do something tomorrow, I rather go to bed earlier. But have if I need to do something or I have to work or something, I will stay up until 12 or maybe more. But it depends.
Okay. So, all right, what else? What else? Tell me one more thing.
Okay. 9 p.m. it's because I'm too tired because
Okay.
I did a lot of stuffs all day.
Okay.
And 12 a.m. because I like to stay un- until
Okay.
12, maybe 1. So I don't know.
Okay. But there you go. That's it. So now you need to analyze what you have. So for going to bed earlier, you have two arguments that you can discuss. You can say, well, I mean, obviously you're going to change this. So instead of saying, if I have to do something in the morning, I go to bed earlier, you're going to tell me, I always have something to do in the morning. So I always go to bed earlier, right? You're going to change it.
Okay.
And then you can make up, okay, I work at 7 a.m. I start work at 7. And you can say too tired. So you could say, I work all day. So I'm doing a lot of stuff lately, which is why I'm always tired at night. I'm exhausted when I go home and I go to bed early because I'm too tired.
This
Those
will
are
be my two
two arguments.
arguments.
Yes, two arguments. So
Huh.
you prefer to go to bed earlier because you always have something to do in the morning. You work out, you work, whatever, and you're always too tired at night. That's why you go to bed early. So that's one option. Or you can go for the other one and you could say, well, actually, I prefer to go to bed late because I always have work to complete. Maybe I finish work at 9 and I have to complete my projects at night. And because I honestly like to stay up, maybe watching videos, watching YouTube or watching TV, whatever. And you could always do the opposite, right? We could say, I'm not tired. I don't have anything to do in the morning. So I'm the same. So you just need to choose which one you think is easier
By the
to write.
way,
I'm sorry?
putting in that way, it looks easy. Yeah. Now it's look easy.
Yeah. I would maybe go for this one because it's easier to explain. When you say
Yes.
I like to stay up late, you're gonna have problems explaining why you like to stay up late. Right? You're gonna be like, "Hmm." And if you say I like to stay up late because I have things to do, you're gonna repeat what you said here.
Yes, but night is the only time I have for free to do what I want.
Okay, but that will kind of contradict this, right? Because you're saying you have work to complete. And then it's not full time.
It can be both. I mean, not
It,
all the time I have work to complete.
but that will be one idea, right? You would say,
Uh,
so I stay up late because I either need to work or I can use my free time. But that's just one idea again.
yes.
I have something to do. So I would go for this one because it's
Mhm.
more different, more varied, easier to
Mhm.
write about. And that's your outline, right? And you say that. And that's kind of how an outline works. If you're in the
So
middle, think of it.
can I say the first topic? How I mean the question?
Yes.
Yeah. Here it's explain whether you agree or disagree. And the other is, do you prefer?
Yeah, but
So
it's
what are the different in these two questions?
uh, I will say is the same because you could say explain whether you agree or disagree with the following statement. Staying up late until 12 a.m. is way better than going to bed early, right? And then it's the same as this one here.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't worry too much about the type of question. The difference is here that this one is a bit more general. It talks about what you think will happen. So it's a bit maybe harder because it's not that personal, but
Mm-hmm.
the form of the question is the same. So
Okay.
so yeah, you could have agree or disagree in this type as well. So do you agree that going to bed earlier is better than staying up late? And you would say, I do agree. So you prefer to go to bed earlier. Or I disagree. I prefer to stay up late.
So here in this question, the introduction is I do agree, or do I have to do a different introduction like we did the last class?
Yes, you do have to do a different. I mean, this intro here
Uh-huh.
is like a basic one, right? It's not even an intro. It's just so
Yes.
that you know what your position was gonna be.
Mhm.
But yeah, in your intro, you have to obviously answer the question. I wouldn't say I do agree because, and I'm repeating, I'm not even paraphrasing, copying and pasting. So I wouldn't do it this way. But in other words, you will have to answer the question directly. So you will have to say maybe, uh, first thing, start with some context if you can, right? Like talk about technology. So technology has been coming a long way during the last 10 years or the last 5 years. And then you can see many people question whether this is going to happen or not. My personal opinion, believe that this will or will not happen for the reasons that I will explore in this essay. All right, so that could be an introduction, a more complete one.
Mhm.
But we're gonna see that later.
Okay. So because this is I mean, I'm confused about the questions. That how can I start if they ask you or you agree or
Oh,
disagree?
like agree or disagree? Never
Yeah.
start I agree or disagree. So it
Okay.
doesn't matter. The same here, right? Don't say I
Uh-huh. I
prefer.
prefer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
When you're speaking, because you will have to answer a question like this in speaking as well, then you can do it because it's less formal. But here,
Mhm.
don't start like I prefer, I agree. So yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Can I see some of the questions?
Yeah, sure. We can even see some of the essays. Let's see. Okay. So, okay, for example, the first one, agree or disagree. Overall, the widespread use of the internet has a mostly positive effect on life in today's world. In other words, are you in favor or against the internet? Do you think it's positive or negative, right? And
Okay.
let's see how this person wrote the essay. So this is the essay.
Oh.
It's a lot, but This is a very elaborated essay. I highly doubt that this person wrote the essay in like the 30 minutes. You know? So don't worry, it doesn't have to be this long.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Look at this. So to begin with, transition.
Mm-hmm.
Online investigative reporting helps to expose political corruption and keep politicians honest. So he's
The
telling you
topic was internet.
the internet, yes. So
Yeah. Okay.
the internet. So basically the question was, does the internet has mostly positive or negative things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Widespread use of the internet, positive or negative? And he's saying that it has positive, so beneficial. So he has the intro, the transition, then
The her the intro has two parts.
no.
Like no.
I mean, this is the intro,
Just
right?
3 lines.
3 lines, yes.
Okay. He put, in my opinion, is it good?
Yeah.
Say that, in my opinion.
So
Or
yeah, I'm gonna tell you the parts of this intro. So first thing, he has context, right? Most people agree that modern technology affects society in many different ways. So
mm-hmm.
see that he here is only showing, it's giving you a fact, something that everybody's gonna agree on. It's not giving his opinion, right? He's not saying has affects positively. No, he's just saying it affects society in many ways, either positive or negative. So that's context, it's a fact, general information that everyone knows about technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, well, what I think, this is what I think. In my opinion, access to the internet is enormously beneficial. So he's saying it's positive to both individuals and communities as a whole. I like the fact that he's kind of limiting this, individuals, communities. Maybe he could talk here about individuals, here about communities. Maybe, but we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has the transitional phrase. I feel this way for two reasons, which I will explain in the essay.
Following essay.
He doesn't summarize the reasons, which I love because I don't know, but I guess that in the conclusion he's gonna summarize. I don't know. Let's see. Yes, look at this. So this is because online journalism strengthens our democracy, which is the first reason, and because social networking sites encourage people to get involved, and that's the second reason. So as you can see, he is not summarizing these ones, the reasons here, because he's gonna talk about them here in the body paragraphs, and he's gonna summarize them in the conclusion. So if he decides for some reason, like many people try to summarize it at the beginning, and that makes them sound so repetitive because they run out of words or paraphrases. So I like that. So it has the context, it has the answer to the question, and then, or the position, and then the transitional phrase. Context, position, and transition. That's the intro. Right?
Yes.
And the way that I teach in the group class,
this introduction is not too complicated.
it is not. No? And that's why I always say, I say, don't worry about the intro and the conclusion. They're not supposed to matter that much. The most important part is the body. And the mistake that many people make is they worry too much. They're like, oh no, I have to make this perfect intro, or it has to be so creative. And they create like a whole paragraph, but it's not important. I would add one more thing, maybe. I would paraphrase the question here. That's the way that I usually do it and ask my students to do it. I kind of paraphrase the question here.
Like how?
Like you're saying, most people agree that modern technology affects society in many different ways. So the context, something general. And then you want to paraphrase the question that you're being asked. So is it positive? Is it negative? So you could say, whether this effect or whether these consequences are positive or negative is, I don't know, is a controversial issue, or maybe it's a heated debate. So you're raising the question. So is it good or is it bad? And then you answer it and you say, in my opinion, it's positive. You know, that's what I would add here, the paraphrase. So most people agree that modern technology affects society. We know that it affects. Now, whether that's positive or negative is a controversial issue. So people don't agree on that. People agree that it affects, but people don't agree on whether it's positive or negative. And in my opinion, I believe that it's positive, for the reasons that I will explore. Yes, you have the intro. And in the body, you have what we did. You have the transition, you have the reason. So internet helps to expose political corruption and keep politicians honest. That's why the internet is so good, because it helps expose political corruption. Then he explains, so this is the intro to the reason. Then he explains, in the past, there were only a limited number of new outlets, which often had deep connections to powerful politicians. As a result, they were extremely hesitant to criticize. These days, however, there are many independent publications on the internet that are willing to expose political misbehavior. He explained, he makes a comparison of how it was without the internet and how it is now with the internet. Then he gives the example. So an online magazine recently published a story revealing that the mayor of my hometown had taken bribes from a property developer. The report was so detailed and well researched that the mayor had no choice but to resign. Although the evidence was not difficult to locate, only this independent website was willing to write about it. So here's the example. And then he reflects or has the closing idea. So this example demonstrates how the internet helps to strengthen democracy in the modern world. So final statement.
Strengthen democracy.
So how the example demonstrates his initial idea, that it exposes political corruption, helps democracy.
That's a big paragraph.
It is. The explanation is long. You don't need the explanation. Don't have to do it. Probably won't have time. So I would, well, I mean, I wouldn't, but if you had to choose from which to cut out, I would say this part. Okay. And that's it. So less words, but it's more realistic.
To be with only investigator. Oh, yes.
You could have maybe one more sentence, a short one. He added like 3. You could add political corruption and keep politicians honest. This is something that we weren't able to do in the past when we had no access to internet. And then you say, for example, right? Maybe one sentence, a short one, and then you move on to it. Okay, another thing I wanted you to notice how to start every sentence. He does this, every single sentence. First thing, he has a transition, right?
Yes.
Then he has another transition, another transition to start the sentence, another one. Well, the example, in the example, he doesn't have so many, but because it's a story, right? So you don't need to use transition. Although
this example,
yeah, I think the last one doesn't have one.
Yes.
Maybe he could say, as one can see, this example demonstrates, but that's something that many writers do. It helps.
As one can see.
Yes, as one can see instead of as you can see, as one can see, this example demonstrates.
Is it wrong if I use if we can, as we can see?
No, you can use the first person or second if you want. So some people are gonna say, try not to use second or first person. Try to use only the third person. But I wouldn't suggest that. It's unnecessary. You could use the first person.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you're gonna have more personal ones. Like, do you prefer to go to bed earlier? So you're gonna have to use the first person.
Okay. Too, because in that part I'm confused too. So when to use the third person, the first person? Because like you said, the other one was more personal than this.
Yes. So this is like your opinion about an external topic. The other one, it was like your preference, your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be different, but it's okay. You could say, for example, yesterday I read an online magazine and he's using first person. No? My hometown had taken bribes,
Mm-hmm. I
right?
know.
So yeah,
Yeah, the measure of my hometown.
you could say I was so flabbergasted to see that the mayor that I had trusted all my life.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I wanted to say, look how he's using different tenses. I had taken bribes.
Mm-hmm.
You can try to do that when you're telling a story in the past. It's very likely if it's like a personal experience, you can try to use the opportunity to use like other tenses, just not just like the simple present, simple past, but also perfect tenses.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in the example, this day I woke, I don't know, I went to bed at I don't know, at 12 a.m. And the next morning I was so tired because I hadn't gotten any sleep. So you're using the past perfect there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. That's another thing. Doesn't have to be that complete. I think this is 411 words.
Wow. So how
And
many words do I need in my essay?
you don't have a word limit or requirement. According to the test, you should write about 300 to 350. That's an ideal number. So this one is a bit unrealistic.
So in the top of this, is there a counter of words?
You don't have access to it, but they will count your words.
Oh, okay.
That's why I try to say, instead of counting the words, because believe it or not, some people are going to be counting. They're going to write the intro and they're going to be like, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Try not to do that.
Because
But you
I will lose time.
you will lose a lot of time.
Uh-huh.
So try to have 4 paragraphs always in 4 to 6 lines. It can be more, but at least 4 lines. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
6 is ideal, but 4 to 6. 5 to is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, for the body paragraphs. The intro and conclusion could be even more, 2 lines or 3.
Yeah, like these 3 lines. Mm-hmm. Tres, cuatro, 9 lines.
Okay. Okay, in the conclusion, he has a transition. He is restating his position. So I strongly believe the internet has positive effect on our life. And he's summarizing the reasons. Yeah, it's exactly what I usually do. I do it the other way. So I first summarize the reasons and then I restate my position. But it's okay.
Mm-hmm. This is because I like journalists. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're gonna do something now. You're gonna write one more paragraph, only
Mm-hmm.
one. This time you will have 5 minutes to write the paragraph and 1 minute to check. I mean, you can write it in 4 if you want and then check in more time, but 6 minutes total to do everything
About what?
about this. So you
Um,
already have the outline. I want you to think now. Okay, so you're gonna decide to go for the later one, right? So I stay up until 12.
no, I will choose the 9.
Oh, okay, yes, that's right. So
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna do a brief introduction. I prefer to stay up. All right.
Mm.
Okay. So you have your reasons. Which one are you gonna write about right now?
Mm. For which one? Have something to do in the morning.
Okay. So give me an example. How are you gonna illustrate this idea that you have something to do in the morning?
Uh, I have a schedule for each day.
Okay. So what do you do in the morning?
Uh, Exercise.
Okay.
Um, Go to work.
Okay. My advice,
Mm-hmm.
try to at least in one of the two paragraphs tell a personal experience, a story. So you
Mm-hmm.
like here you're saying, I have my own schedule, I work out, I go to work, I do yoga. In the second one, if you say that you do a lot of things and that's why you're tired, instead of telling me, okay, for example, I do this, I work, I do that, tell me there was this time when I didn't or go to bed this early and I was so tired that I got ill, something like that, like a personal experience, instead of just naming the things that you have to do or the things that you don't do. Or, you know,
Okay.
so
So,
like you
sorry.
could, I always have something to do in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, for example, I wake up at 7 a.m., I do yoga, I don't know, I go to work, and then I make breakfast. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's one way. It's an example, but you're just naming the things that you do. You're not
Mm-hmm.
telling a story, right? It's not a story, it's just examples, details. But you could also tell a story. You could say, I always have something to do in the morning. And maybe you can add, and when when I stay up late, I don't have enough energy to do it. Okay, and then you can tell a story. So, for example, last week I I don't know, I was watching TV with my friends and we stayed up until 12 a.m. even though I knew I had to go to work the next morning. And then you can say, therefore, the following day, I ended up uh, sleeping in. I snoozed my alarm and didn't go to work.
Wow.
And then I got fired. I don't know, whatever. So this is a story, right? And you're like, it has a lot of build up and it has more grammar because you're saying, I was watching TV and we stayed up late, even though I knew I had to go to work the next morning. Or I was going to, or I would have to go to work the next morning. Therefore, the following day, I ended up sleeping in. I still my dad didn't go to work. And then you can say, and I got fired because I hadn't even called to notice, right? So you're using a lot of tenses and a lot of grammar. And it's more complete than just mentioning what the things that you need to do, you know?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Wow.
So you don't have to do this for both of the paragraphs because it takes time, but you can do it for at least one. So one of them could be like this, a long, well, not long, but like a complete example. And the other one could be maybe a fact or something just mentioning. So you could say, so for example, I don't know, there have been some studies that show that people who wake up or who go to bed earlier tend to be twice as productive in the morning as people who don't, right? So it's an example and that's enough. It's less, I mean, it's not that long, but it's perfectly okay. Try to combine them. So one personal, one story, not necessarily personal, but a story, and the other one like a fact or just naming the things, a general example, like if you do this, this happens. Okay. So try to do at least one of these. And the other one could be this one. Because the thing is, you want to show that you know the grammar, but you don't have to do it every single time. So as long as you show it once, you use one time the third, or not third, the past perfect, and that's enough. So the second paragraph could be 2 lines, and it's still, I mean, it's very likely that you get a good score. Even if the second body paragraph is not that complete, they're gonna know, they're gonna say, she didn't have time. But it's not like, oh, she doesn't, I mean, everything is so simple, she doesn't have enough like grammar range, or those are just simple sentences.
So
So
what happened in one if one paragraph has, I don't know, 9 lines and the other one has 3 lines or 2 lines? That's what you're saying? That's no problem with that?
yeah, I kind of, so I'm not talking so much about the lines, but about the grammar that you're showing.
Okay.
So if in the first one you have good grammar, it doesn't have to be, this is not like so long either. This is like
Oh.
2, 4, 6 lines. Of course, I'm missing maybe a little bit more like the conclusion, but 4, 6 lines. The thing is that I'm showing the grammar, and that's the important part. It could be in less sentences, I'm kind of writing, babbling here. Could be in less sentences, but I'm showing the grammar. So in one, you can show the grammar, and the other one, you do what we did. So I have something to do in the morning, like have breakfast, work out, and do this. And they're going to know that it could be like 4 lines and like simple grammar. And that's fine because you have already showed that you know how to use the grammar in the first
The grammar.
one.
Okay.
So yes, I would say do that. So the first paragraph, try to do a complete one. Careful with time. I would try to, like in the second one, maybe do something shorter, something a bit more simple. The conclusion, and then you go back and try to make it better. Instead of wasting time in doing two perfect paragraphs, do one perfect, the other one a bit shorter, and the conclusion.
Sorry, I have a question here. Can I use inversion? Like when exactly I can use inversion?
I
It
mean,
could be
all
always. Have I something to do? No.
No, because inversions is with negatives, right? Like never.
Uh-huh.
So you could say maybe when I stay up late, I don't have enough energy to do it. Thus, well, maybe here. So I got fired, right? So ever since or never have I stayed up late ever since. There you have an inversion. So I've never stayed up late ever since that thing happened to me. I never did it again. So never have I done it again. Right? Or you can use a conditional, right? Like, hadn't I stayed up late, I wouldn't have gotten fired. Or I would still have my job. And it's a mixed conditional.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Try, obviously, this is like a very little elaborated example. I am using a lot of contractions, very basic language, but it's just to show you, like, yeah. But again, you don't have to do this, like use two inversions. If you use one, that's okay. Like, that's even better because they're gonna know, like, okay, yeah, she's just using it too much. So one inversion in the whole thing. And that's one inversion, maybe one where I have this one, what's past perfect. And yeah, that's enough. You don't have to do it every single time. So yeah. Any questions?
No. No.
So you're gonna write the other paragraph now. What are you gonna do for the other one? So you're too tired, do a lot of stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So you can maybe another. Okay, let's work on the same one. You have
In
this one.
the same.
Okay, so here you can write it.
Okay, just. Too tired. Okay.
Starting now, you have.
Starting now? Yeah.
You have 6 minutes.
Okay. So it is my first paragraph, so I can start first of all, or
Yeah.
just yes.
Yes, we can start with that.
Okay.
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 The time's up.
Yes.
Okay. But don't worry, it's fine if you didn't get to finish the whole thing.
I will add here as a result.
Here?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead
Yes.
and do.
No. So what? Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, I need a connection for as a result. That's why I prefer to go to bed earlier.
Right? All
Mhm.
right. Okay. So don't worry. You know, the 6 minutes that I'm giving you, I'm treating like if you were to spend the same amount of time in every single paragraph, which is not exactly how it would be, right? If I'm asking you to write the good paragraph, we could say quotation marks, then obviously you're gonna dedicate more time to that paragraph, maybe 8 minutes, because the conclusion and intro shouldn't spend that much time there. So it's not gonna be 6 minutes there. And also the other paragraph, right? So maybe dedicate like 8 minutes to one paragraph and then the other one less time. So don't worry, it's okay if you didn't get to finish it all. Okay, now what you have. So you have your reason, like any normal employee, I have a lot of stuff to do every day. In order to finish my assignments correctly, I need to complete my sleep time. Okay, I gotta say, I love the vocabulary you're using. I love the grammar. I like how you're inverting things. So this counts as a transition, right? In order to finish my assignments correctly, I need to complete my sleep time. So it's not in the usual subject, verb, and complement. So it's not that simple. Here as well. So like any normal employee, don't forget the comma. I have a lot of stuff to do every day. You can even use different punctuation if you want, right? Like dashes, but that's fine. And then that's why I prefer to go to bed early around 9 p.m. because if I didn't do that, I might be tired.
Yeah, I don't.
If I didn't go to bed,
Yeah, yes, I might be tired and
okay.
not be able.
And then I would, instead of writing all this, I would try to have started writing the the example, right? Instead of doing,
Okay. Yes.
because you already have explained. You say
Yes.
the reason why I like to go to bed early is because I have a lot of stuff to do and I need to complete my sleep time. So that's the reason. Then you start with your example. If you have extra time, you can add something else if you want, but you don't have to. So instead of that phrase, I would have gone with the example.
For example, yes. I forget the example.
So forget the example.
Yes.
Try. Uh, okay, no, nothing to say about it. You don't need a transition here because you're saying that's why. So it's kind of like a transition. That's why. So for the previous reason, I prefer to put it. Don't need a comma after before because. You do need a comma here though. I like the conditional. Maybe try not to use contractions. I love the what's this? The modal verb. What else? I like the vocabulary as I was saying. Another thing you can do is these quantifiers. I don't know if you remember. I think we had a lesson for quantifiers. So what's a different, more formal way to say a lot?
Uh, a lot is. No, I don't remember.
Right?
Ah, no.
There's several,
Oh,
multiple,
yes. So,
many. Yeah, those are the formal ones. Here, stuff is uncount, so you would have to say several. You cannot say multiple or many. But stuff is also informal, right? So instead of stuff, activities, tasks,
tasks.
I have several tasks or several activities. do every day. Okay. All right, so don't worry, just try to start as soon as possible with the exam.
Okay.
Maybe for tomorrow you can try it one more time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now with example.
With the example, yes.
Okay.
We'll try to maybe use 3 minutes for the example. Let's see if you can write it.
Yeah. Okay. 3 minutes. A lot. And a few.
A few is for, I mean, a few is already the only, it's like a lot of few, the opposite. The thing is that we don't use it that much, right? A few, little, a little.
Is more formal than a few.
I'm sorry?
Little is more formal than a few.
It's different. Little is for, little is for
Yeah, it's
non-count nouns, and a few is for count nouns.
uh-huh.
So I don't think there are synonyms for a few and little. Both are formal already. Just try not to say like a bit, maybe. But both are formal. Like, let's see. Little, okay, maybe formal quantifiers. Okay. So yes, you don't have any more for a few, little, a little. That's it. For large quantities, you do have. So numerals, plenty of, too many, several, a number of.
Yes.
But for small quantities, you don't. Okay.
So if I put an example there, can I use the last part, like at the end?
Yes, sure. That could be like your short conclusion.
For conclusion, yes. Okay.
As long as you have enough time. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so yes, just try to write down that example.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you have any questions for the day?
No, no, I don't have. Okay, I have one. And what happened if I can't remember the formal way to use a lot? Is it wrong if I use a lot instead of several or stuff? I mean, maybe for the if I am nervous,
Yes,
I
you
only use the words that I common.
like common words.
Yes.
I mean, nothing's gonna happen if you don't use them. What I'm
Okay.
doing right now, okay, so part of the rubric is vocabulary, right? And word choice. So you need to find a way to show that you have vocabulary. Let's actually see the rubric. So, vocabulary is part of the rubric. Now, honestly, it is hard to have like out of nowhere start like memorizing words and improving your vocabulary because there are synonyms for everything. There's a formal way to say go to bed, there's a formal way to do it. To say prefer, to say tired, to say everything. There's a formal way to everything. So right now you're not showing like too much vocabulary. Now what I'm telling you right now, like with the quantifiers, maybe with some specific adjectives like good, bad, tired, maybe with some specific words that are common words, you can like memorize those. And that's the easiest way to show that vocabulary because like checking vocabulary like crazy, like without anything specific, like maybe just quantifiers and modal verbs, will be too much. So I cannot tell you, you just need to look for vocabulary to make it sound more formal. So that's why I'm telling you like some tips on where you can change some words to show that vocabulary.
Oh, okay.
So let's see. So an essay, a five score essay accomplishes all of the following. Effectively addresses the topic and task. So you're actually answering the question. You're not going somewhere else. Is well organized, well developed, using clearly appropriate explanations, exemplifications, and or details. So well justified. It not only does it make sense, but it also you're like not mixing up your ideas. You're writing one paragraph for one idea. You're giving examples, so exemplifications, details, explanations. It's not just I like to go to bed early. It displays unity, progression, and coherence. So unity means you have that. I mean, why? What would I say? So it definitely has unity. It has progression because you start with an idea. You say, okay, I have several activities to do. In order to do these activities, I need to complete my sleep. So that's why I prefer. So it's progressing. The ideas are progressing. You're using these transitions as you go. So that means progression and coherence because it makes sense. You're developing the ideas as you go. And the most the toughest part to show is language used. So it displays consistent facility in the use of language. That's grammar. You're not making too many mistakes. Demonstrating syntactic variety. This means you're using different types of tenses, not tenses, sorry, you're using different types of sentences. So syntactic variety, like if you say, I like to go to bed, that has no variety, right? It's a simple sentence. But if you say this, in order to finish my assignments correctly, I need to complete my sleep time, that has variety. Or this one here, like any normal employee, or if you're using this, like, where is it? I don't know, like I think maybe an example that I wrote. So even though I knew I had to go to work the next morning, so compound sentence. Appropriate word choice, that means that vocabulary and that it's appropriate as well. So like here, you're using employee, and that's a good word to use. It's good vocabulary, it's appropriate. Idiomaticity, and well, that's a bit harder because that means, sorry?
What is that?
It has to do with how natural you sound. So you're not forcing it too much. That's why some people say, include some expressions, some idioms, some quotes, but you don't have to do it. It sounds very natural. So I wouldn't say that you have to use like an idiom or phrasal verbs. They do help, not gonna lie, for vocabulary as well. But in general, you sound very natural. It's not forced. It's not like you're speaking in a different language and translating. That would be not natural. Although it may have some minor lexical or grammatical errors. So you can have some errors and still get a perfect score as long as they are not repeated. So if here you once, okay, you say, I don't know, I prefer go. It's once, that's okay. But then if you show that you don't know how to use gerunds and infinitives, and then you're like, I don't know, I might be tired. So if you're constantly making the same mistake and you show that it's a grammar point that you haven't mastered, then yes, it's gonna count. But otherwise, it's okay.
So what happened if, you're writing so fast and you miss one letter and you have mistakes that is not like grammatical
Format
mistakes? Yes.
and spelling.
Yes,
If you
but
say,
it's just a finger mistake,
yeah,
one
typo,
letter or one space, or you repeat the letter.
yes. So you're gonna have typos. It's normal because you don't have this automatic correction. So you won't have any tool that helps you identify those typos or those format mistakes and correct them. So you can have them. They're not gonna take away points from you for that, but careful with like some things that might be confusing. Like here, like if you're not after a period, if you don't leave a spacing too many of them, then they might think that you don't know how to use a period, right? Or capital letters, it's important. So I always have, so punctuation, capital letters, typos is okay. I mean, you can have some of them. Obviously, try to make it understandable, not a whole lot, but you can have one or two. That's fine.
Okay. Yeah, because it happened to me all the time. Not only in English, but in Spanish too.
Yeah, me too. But it's okay. Don't worry.
Okay.
So don't worry too much about time. I think you're actually pretty good because I remember that when we were doing the writing part, you were struggling with time. But now
Yeah.
I feel that you're a lot better.
Yes. Yes, I feel that too. I mean that you give me like you have 5 minutes and I need to think fast what I want to say because when we did the writing part, I mean I have the whole hour to write an essay. So it made me think, you need to repeat and rewrite and introduction. Yeah, it was hard.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's because we weren't really focusing on the TOEFL test. Right now, yeah, it's more for the test.
Yes.
But you are actually good, honestly. Like your grammar, your punctuation, your vocabulary, uh, in time as well. So honestly, I think you can get a great score in your writing.
You think?
Believe me, I honestly think that like you write coherent paragraphs. If you, I don't know, like you should see there are so many different types of essays that I've seen. So
Mhm.
yes, you have like I think so.
So yeah, I'm really scared about the TOEFL test, to be honest. Really scared.
Why? Don't be. You should.
No, I'm not sure, but I'm scared.
You just need to feel ready. You will feel ready. I think after the course, after you take the group course,
Mhm.
maybe you can you're gonna have an idea of how it works and all.
So I was talking to one friend that cursed the TOEFL preparation, the course of
Okay.
TOEFL preparation, yes. And she said, well, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. But we're doing in my own computer. I don't have to go to another place to take the test. Is that right?
Like, I mean, it
Like
depends.
here, where I here,
Say that
and
you take the
in
test
my
in
house.
the actual test.
Yes.
I think you still can do that. The thing is, because of the pandemic thing,
Mm-hmm.
they made the TOEFL Home Edition available. So you can take it. I don't know if you still can. Let me see.
So
So
she told me that if I want to take my TOEFL test in, I don't know, CBA or the authorized locations, I don't know. Um, it's only the CBA, and I don't remember the other one. But she took the TOEFL test the last year, and she had troubles with that.
taking
Like,
the test center.
yes, she took it in her house. Like she
Yeah,
had, and she has troubles. So she said, "Oh,
yeah,
you. My advice for you is not to take at home, and I prefer to ask to do in the CBA or something." So
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Totally.
I'm asking you this because it will be my first time.
Yes.
So
I actually say that a lot. So it's a personal decision. But I have heard that too. I have heard from some students be like, I couldn't listen to the listening part to the audios because my connection wasn't working. And that can happen. Like imagine that your Wi-Fi is not working or maybe
Yes, and you can use your cell phone to connect instead
no.
of your Wi-Fi. So
That,
yes.
yeah, so it's very common actually. So and not only that, but problems with the computer, even sometimes because there's going to be if you take it at home with your computer, like you have very specific requirements so that you don't cheat or anything. And there's
Yes.
going to be like a proctor there. And sometimes you're like doing your normal stuff. You're not trying to cheat or anything. But if the proctor tries to see you or sees you in a suspicious manner, then they can like invalidate your scores.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say it's better to take it in a test center. Some
Mhm.
people like, that's you didn't hear this from me, but some people think that that they
Your
can
recorder.
yeah,
Recorder.
maybe record it. But some people have tried to cheat like in the home edition one. And I think it's possible, but it's not worth it because either way you cannot do a lot of things. Like what's the maximum thing that you could do, like maybe look online some words, vocabulary, but that's not going to help you. So I would say try to take it at a test center. But again, it's a personal decision. So I'm telling you from what I've heard, yes, it's possible that you can have some problems. And when you take it at a test center, in case you have some problems, then you can kind of, it's not going to be your responsibility anymore.
Mhm.
So and another thing is that sometimes when you apply to certain universities,
Mhm.
they don't trust the home edition one as much as they do their usual traditional test. It's not
Wow.
that reliable. So yeah, I think it's better. But
Okay. So what will happen when I finish the course and I want to take the TOEFL test? Um, do you? I mean, the executive English has specific dates for the exams or
uh,
something?
so for you, in your case, because you're taking the guaranteed program,
Uh
I
huh.
think they ask you to take the test no longer than 2 or 3 months after finishing the course. I'm not sure. I'm gonna ask Ruth. But you don't have like a specific date. Oh, you need to take it this date.
Uh huh.
I mean, obviously try not to take like if you take it at 1 year after taking the course, then you cannot say like anything and be like
Yeah,
because
because
maybe
we stopped for 1 week, and I was like,
yeah. So
So imagine amount
yeah,
or
no.
uh
My
huh.
advice for you, I would say, after finishing the course, take a simulation test, see how ready you feel, how your scores are. And if you feel that there are some things like maybe you struggled in the reading or something, you can practice on your own. Once you already know the structure, it's easier to practice on your own. So you can continue practicing on your own if you feel like you still want to like improve in some area. And if you don't, and be honest with yourself too, because if you're not really going to practice, then better take it that, after finishing the course. But if you feel like practicing a little bit more, then yes, you can do it. But yes, try not to like stop, forget about the test, and then like 2 months later take it.
No, because I will forget everything.
Yeah.
Uh, to be honest, yeah, I need to take at least 1 month when I finish the course.
Mm. And during that month, you can like take a simulation test maybe every Saturday, once a week. So
Yes, 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 yes.
taking simulation tests is great for all these standardized tests.
Hmm. So where can I take a simulation test? In
Uh,
the
okay, so um,
You're not hearing this from me? Well,
no, I mean the course offers two simulation tests, like one at the beginning, one at the end.
yeah.
I think you can take actually more, and that's another thing. So okay, I'm gonna stop. So you can take okay. So they offer these simulation tests, which are honestly great because, well, it's a long story, but they are official from the ATS. And you actually have to pay, you would have to pay for these. I don't know if this is legal or
And how
what.
much?
I mean, you don't have to pay anything right now because they basically uploaded it here. So
Oh,
yeah, which is pretty good. The thing is, it might be a bit confusing because it's the previous version of the test. So some things are different. And that's like the downside. Here you have these two volumes, and each volume has 5 complete simulation tests.
okay.
It's great for practice, but it is a bit different than the actual test right now because it's the last version. So I think this was before August 2019. So it is a bit different. Like in the speaking, you have 6 tasks instead of 4. In the reading, you have more questions. I don't know how the listening changed, but in general, it's still kind of the same.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do if I were you, I would use this material definitely, like at least for my own. You're gonna have to send your results to the course and everything else, but I would try to use this. Like since you have 10 in total, 2 of them are gonna be sent to Ruth or the coordinator. So the other 8, I would try to check how the test has changed from August 2019
It's
and try
all.
to avoid doing those parts of the test,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that you don't get mixed up. So if you are aware, then it's not gonna be a problem. But yes, it was for some people, and they were like, "But like, are they 6 or 5 or 4 tasks in speaking?" And it can be confusing. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are aware of how the test has changed, then
So
it's not gonna.
I have a question here. How it can score my speaking? I mean, is there a machine?
No. So you will have to do that yourself. Like if you're doing it for you, if you're doing
Uh-huh.
it for the course, you're gonna send your recordings and they're gonna score it for you and send you back the results.
Oh,
But for you, you will have to do it yourself, or you can ask somebody that knows about the test. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So, so yeah, that's what I could say. Maybe careful. It's great material. I'm not gonna lie, it's good because you
But,
actually have to pay.
so I need to pay for this. I didn't understand
No, you
because
don't have to pay for this.
so I can. But
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't pay for the entire book. I only rent.
It's not a book. It's like an app. I think I have it
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
not here, not the official TOEFL IBT test, but
Like,
the when you pay for the class, you choose if you want to buy the
oh, okay.
books or
Yeah, that's
the
not the
reference
IBT.
books.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure if it is part of
no,
that.
no, no, no. No, it has nothing to do with that. What you pay for or rent is the Pearson material, the one that
Uh,
we
the
you know.
person.
So yeah, it has nothing to do with this. Is actually like free for everyone. Like you just need to have the link and that's it.
Oh, okay. Send me the link.
Yeah, because in reality, you would have to pay for this to the ETS.
Hmm.
But I don't know.
You didn't hear that from me.
Okay, so yes, as you can see, it's like a program that you install and run, and you have 5 full practice sets.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to send the first one, but you can do the other ones for practice.
Okay.
Yeah,
So all the tests, it's 4 hours,
3 hours.
3 hours. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay.
Okay.
So I can talk to Ruth when I finish if I want to take the home test or in the center
Um,
to rise. or
I think you have to do it yourself. I don't know. I don't know if Ruth and the program kind of helps you in the process of registering.
okay,
I don't know, but you can do it. It's quite easy.
okay.
Yeah,
So I have to pay by myself the TOEFL test,
I think
or the
so.
course pay for me?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know. I don't think that the course pays for your test. I don't think because I don't know. I don't think it does, but
I
you should
should
ask
have
Ruth.
read the contract.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, I should have, but
You didn't read the contract.
I'm I didn't have a contract, to be honest.
I'm not aware of how that works. They don't tell us anything, so I don't know.
See, when she told me, "Oh, you have to pay for 8 hours," and I say, "When did you tell me that?" And I say, "Oh, the boot, like the the